Okay, let's have a look at the speaking part of the Linguaskill exam. So the general format for the speaking part is part 1, an interview stage, where the examiner will ask you questions. Part 2, reading aloud. Part 3, long turn 1. Part 4, long turn 2. And part 5, a communication activity. And we will have a look at these in a lot more detail in the next videos. But before we do that, I'd like to go through the marking criteria with you, because if you know how the examiners mark your work, you're sure to get much higher marks in the exam. So they use a scale from 0 to 6, 0 being the lowest, 6 being the highest. And they judge you based on the following criteria. For parts 1, 3, 4 and 5, so not for part 2, but for parts 1, 3, 4 and 5, they look for task achievement, how well you answer the question, coherence and discourse management, so that's how well you can connect your ideas and how clearly you put them across. Language resource, so how much language you know and can show. And pronunciation. Hesitation and extent, so how many pauses you make in your speech. Whether it's a nice, smooth flowing speech, and again remember some of this is connected to point 2, coherence and discourse management, where the organisation of your speech is also important. For part 2, so this is different. For part 2, they're looking for overall intelligibility, which means how easy it is to understand you. The individual sounds that you make. The stress, the rhythm, and the intonation of your speech. So remember, part 2 is reading aloud. And those are the 3 marking criteria for this part.